So we've learned about relative URLs, and a relative URL is relative to one document. Where do I find some other resource or some other document? And now we're going to learn about absolute URLs. So an absolute URL is always going to find the path to a resource regardless of where that URL gets put. So that URL could be at the top of your directory structure, it could be in a file up here, or it could be nested deep within your directory structure. But the URL, regardless of what document it's in or where that document is within your directory structure, that URL is absolute and it's always going to find that resource. So relative URLs are relative to the document. How do I get to the resource? Absolute URLs are just absolute, always take us there. So the easiest way to understand it is to see it in action. So I've created a new folder, 009, absolute URLs. It has exactly the same folder and file structure as 008, relative URLs. So I just copied that. And we have the same document, but now we're going to look at creating absolute URLs. So the first thing I'm going to do is come in here and add a comment, and this is going to be an absolute URL. And now I'm going to put in an image tag, and for the source, I'm going to go over to the web, and I'm going to look for wiki dog, right? So just Wikipedia dog, there we go. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to find a dog. This one looks cool. I'm going to right click it and choose copy image address. If I was to open that image address right there, so there's the image URL for that image, that's the address of that resource on the World Wide Web and the internet. And when I go there, I just get that image. So in my code, I'm going to put that URL. That is an absolute URL. I'm taking out the alt attribute. So no matter where this file, index.html is, I could drag that file and drop it anywhere. No matter where that file is located within my directory structure, it's always going to find this image. And we could prove that by just opening this document up. And there's our new dog. Cool. So how do we do an absolute URL to puppy? How would we do an absolute URL to that? So I'm going to, and there's a little bit of a WebStorm idiosyncrasy, I can't say that word either, here. So I'm going to show you what that is. So I'm going to do a new image tag, and from the root of my website, so the root of my website is right here. From the root of my website, I'm going to go into, so I could press Control Spacebar, and here are my options. I'm going to go into 09 absolute URL. And then inside that, / I'm going to choose puppy JPEG. So that all looks good. WebStorm's not throwing any errors. Everything looks fine. However, when I preview that, I've already closed my preview, so let me open this again. When I preview that, Control R, I have an error. And the reason is because WebStorm is kind of goofy with its server. And it serves at this local host, so this is a little bit technical, but don't sweat it. Serves at that local host and then adds the folder name of my root into it, which is not the right way. So if we right click this and choose inspect, we can see that I am looking at 009, but it's wanting it at this root. So the way we fix that is we take this part right here, and this isn't what you do in production. In production, you'd leave it just like that. But when I duplicate that code and drop this in, one too many slashes, cool. So now WebStorm is telling me, hey, that's not going to work. I can't find that file. However, when I come over here and I preview it, it finds the file. And it all has to do with the way WebStorm serves its files. So in production code, you're going to do it like this. But when you preview it in WebStorm, if you want to see it work, you got to add that in. I'm taking it out. I'm going to take it out because this is the way you'd write it, even though WebStorm doesn't prove it. When you deployed your website, that would work. So this is another absolute URL. And to do absolute URLs to like this file, I would just do 00 image, right? So to get to that file, I do an image, and then, well, let me do it from / / //00 image / Control Spacebar pup JPEG. So that's how I'd get to that other file. That's how you'd navigate around. So those are absolute URLs. You could either enter it like this with an HTTPS, and then just the straight URL, resource on the web, Uniform Resource Locator. That's what URL stands for. So the straight path to the resource on the web. Or you could do it relative to the root of your website. And WebStorm has issues with it. So that's just something funny about WebStorm. It's like my least favorite thing about WebStorm. Anyhow, the main takeaway from this video is that you're learning about absolute URLs and the difference between an absolute URL and a relative URL. And absolute URLs are absolute. So no matter where I place that link, any file, anywhere, any page on the web, it's finding that image, right? Or no matter where I place this link in any file within my website, it will find that image, even though WebStorm doesn't, because WebStorm's just messed up. That's one of the flaws. I don't know why they don't have it to work that way. I should submit an issue or something. But anyhow, that's WebStorm. All right, that's relative URLs and absolute URLs.